Are you worried about your nursing license expiring soon? Well, don't stress, because renewing your license in Massachusetts is actually a whole lot simpler than you might think. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to break down absolutely every step you need to take to ensure your license remains active, fully compliant, and ready for practice.
Let's be honest for a second. Nursing requires a massive amount of mental and physical energy. Between those exhausting long shifts and giving your all to your patients, keeping up with administrative, regulatory deadlines is probably the very last thing on your mind, right? It can honestly cause a lot of unnecessary anxiety. But today, we're going to eliminate all that stress. We're going to walk through the entire process together, turning what feels like a complex web of regulations into a clear, easy, and actionable checklist.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with an intro to license renewal, then cover eligibility and CEU requirements, walk through the step-by-step renewal process, discuss navigating lapsed licenses, check out post-renewal and resources, and finally, wrap up with our summary and official disclaimer.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Intro to License Renewal.
So, here's exactly how the state of Massachusetts divides up the renewal cycles. It's actually pretty straightforward. If you are a registered nurse or an advanced practice registered nurse, your license expires in even-numbered years right on your birthday. Think years like 2024, 2026, and so on. Now, if you're a licensed practical nurse, your cycle falls on odd-numbered years, again, on your birthday, like 2025 or 2027. And listen, they are incredibly specific about this. Your credential expires at exactly 11:59 p.m. on your birthday, not the end of the month, your actual birthday.
Moving right along to Section 2, Eligibility and CEU Requirements.
Now, what's really interesting about this part is that every licensed RN, LPN, and APRN has to accumulate 15 contact hours of continuing education every 2 years. But you can't just pick any random 15 hours. The state specifically mandates certain topics. This includes the Chapter 260 Domestic and Sexual Violence Training, as well as a one-time Alzheimer's and dementia training. Here's a quick pro tip for you. Create a dedicated digital folder on your computer for your certificates right now. A super common hurdle is losing track of these documents, and you've got to hold on to them for at least 2 consecutive renewal periods just in case you ever get audited. Oh, and by the way, if this is your very first time renewing since graduation, you are completely exempt from the CEU requirement for this cycle, which is a nice little bonus.
Now, if you're an advanced practice registered nurse, there's an extra layer of compliance we need to talk about. Because APRNs often hold prescriptive authority, Massachusetts requires mandatory, ongoing training in pain management and substance use disorder. This is absolutely critical for combating the opioid crisis and making sure we have safe prescribing practices across the entire Commonwealth.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 3, Step-by-Step Renewal Process.
When it comes to renewing, timing is literally everything. Exactly 90 days before your birthday, your renewal window officially opens. That's a really generous 3-month period. A great tip for a smooth, hassle-free renewal is to just set a calendar reminder on your phone for exactly 90 days out. Seriously, do not wait until the night of your birthday. If the clock strikes midnight and you haven't clicked submit, the day after your birthday, your license is officially expired.
So, you're inside that 90-day window. Here's exactly what you do. First, log into the state's health professions licensing system. Second, you'll need to attest, and this is under penalty of perjury, so take it seriously, that you've completed your CEUs, that you're complying with abuse reporting laws, and that you maintain good moral character as defined by state law. A really common mistake here is rushing and incorrectly answering these attestation questions, which can totally red flag your application, so just take your time. If you have any new criminal convictions or disciplinary actions from another state, you've got to report them accurately right here. Finally, you just submit your payment.
Let's talk dollars and cents. For a standard RN or LPN, your renewal fee is $120. For an APRN, because of that dual authorization, the fee jumps up to $180. And take a look at that $57 late fee penalty. If you miss your birthday deadline, you are going to be paying that extra fee on top of your base renewal cost just to get your paperwork processed. Definitely something we want to avoid.
Which brings us to a slightly heavier topic, Section 4, Navigating Lapsed Licenses.
So the crucial point here is this number, $2,500. No joke. If your license lapses and you just keep going to work and practicing nursing, you are engaging in illegal, unlicensed practice. The state of Massachusetts takes this incredibly seriously. You can be hit with civil administrative penalties up to $2,500, and in extreme cases, it can even result in up to 6 months of imprisonment.
And listen, Massachusetts offers absolutely zero grace period. There is no such thing as retroactive authorization. If you realize 3 days after your birthday you forgot to renew, you have to immediately notify your employer and stop practicing. You literally cannot work a single shift until you go through the formal, pretty tedious process to reinstate your expired license, pay those late fees, and verify that your status is finally active once again.
Let's look at what happens when you do it right. Section 5. Post-renewal and resources. You'll definitely want to bookmark the official Massachusetts Board of Registration in Nursing portal over at mass.gov. This is your primary hub for everything. It's really important to know that the board doesn't actually pre-approve specific continuing education courses. Instead, they provide really handy checklists right on this site so you can easily verify that the courses you're taking actually meet the state's regulatory requirements. Always use this official portal as your go-to resource.
Now, once you pay your fee, you might be wondering when that shiny new paper license will arrive in the mail. The answer is never. Massachusetts no longer issues paper nursing licenses. The only way to verify your active status, for both you and your employer, is by using the online Check a License database. This system is the ultimate primary source verification. It updates immediately the second you successfully renew, and it's available online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right, wrapping things up with Section 6, Summary and Official Disclaimer.
Let's quickly recap your actionable takeaways. First, know your deadline. Even years for RNs and APRNs, odd years for LPNs, and remember, it always expires exactly on your birthday. Second, secure your 15 contact hours early, making sure you've hit those state-mandated topics like domestic violence and dementia care. Third, don't wait around. Renew online the minute that 90-day window opens. And finally, always verify your success using that online Check a License tool.
It's always good to remember that this whole process isn't just arbitrary paperwork. It's strictly governed by the Executive Office of Health and Human Services and the Department of Public Health. Your nursing license is a privilege granted by the Commonwealth, and staying compliant is a core part of your professional duty to the public you serve.
Finally, please keep this important disclaimer in mind. Regulations and requirements can and do change. It is always your responsibility to refer to the official Massachusetts Board of Registration and Nursing website for the absolute most current information. I want to leave you with this final thought today. Taking control of your license renewal isn't just about avoiding a pesky late fee, it's about fully owning your professional practice. So, how does staying proactively informed and organized actually empower your entire nursing career and, more importantly, the safety of your patients? Something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and stay focused out there.